Today's episode, I talk about systems for your racing. Hey guys, welcome to MotoFit TV episode number 23. Had something different happen on the weekend, no mountain biking, but went out and had a fitness comp, which was in Midland here in Perth in WA. So that was a little bit different. It's been a few years or a couple of years since I've last done a fitness comp. So with that, learnt a few things, as always, from doing events and doing different types of sports, but also from a training perspective for me and nutrition, but also from observing the other guys and girls that were there as well and what they were doing, and how that translates over to riding and racing. So one of the things that riders and racers need to be able to focus on, and this is something that comes up at all fitness events. So it came up on the weekend, comes up at motocross events, comes up at speedway events, comes up at triathlons, okay, comes up everywhere in all different sporting events, in all different categories, is systems, okay? One of the most important things is you need to be able to have systems in place for everything on event day before you've even got there, so that you can focus all your attention on the sport. So we all know what it's like when you go to a motocross event or you go to an enduro event, you go to a Pony Express, you're at an MX Nationals, you're at a club day. All the focus is always on the bike, okay? All the focus is always on the event. So we go to practice, we're focusing on the bike, we're looking at the suspension, we're getting it washed if it's muddy, okay? We're changing air filters, whatever we're doing, we're making sure the bike's at its absolute best. And what starts to happen is all that hard work we put in during the week, all the training we've been doing, all the healthy eating starts to go out the window, and we focus all our attention purely on the bike. So all the benefit that we should be dragging from during the week, we're only getting part of that on the weekend because we're kind of ditching ourselves and just focusing on the riding and the racing. So in order to be able to get what we've done during the week transferring over to our riding and racing, we need to have systems in place. You need to be able to create systems. You can either have a coach and they help you create the systems and have the system there for you to use, or you create your own systems. What I mean by systems is you need to be able to have a replicatable model to be able to use for event day, for nutrition, for flexibility, for training, for absolutely everything, to be able to map out exactly what's going to happen. So for example, if you are going out there on race day, you need to be able to have a system in terms of what you're going to eat at particular times of the day. What are you going to have before every ride? What are you going to have after every ride? What are you going to have for lunch? What are you going to have for breakfast? What are you going to have after the last race meet? What are you going to have before the last race of the day? Having everything mapped out before you even get there. So there's no point in getting to race day, waking up on Sunday morning and then trying to figure out, oh shit, have I got enough complex carbs, simple carbs, proteins, fats, have I got all the right types of foods? Because it's not going to happen. And then if you do have it, chances are you're not going to have it organized, ready to go. So the days before riding and racing, or preferably the day before, everything needs to be organized. So you need to be able to chop up all your fruit, chop up all your food, get any meat sorted that you're going to cook. Maybe you cook the meat the day before and you have it cold, or you reheat it on race day. Maybe that means getting your breakfast prepared so you can have it on the go when you're driving to the track. Maybe this means getting some protein shakes ready and making sure everything's all organized and put in their cups. Maybe this means having some coconut water. Maybe this means making sure that you've brought enough water for the day to be able to take. Maybe it means you've got somewhere to be able to store all this water, have an esky or a fridge that you can bring with you. You need to be able to have systems. You need to be able to have everything organized, because if you don't have everything organized, then we forget, it gets pushed to the too hard basket. We start to focus all our attention on the bike. So we pretty much want to take the choices out of nutrition on race day. You don't want to have a choice between actually, should I have this, should I have that? Do I need to go to the canteen? Do I need to go to the car? Do I need to go to the esky? Do I need this? Do I need that? You should take all the choices out of nutrition, and it should be purely just following a system. You go, okay, shit, I've got this written down. I know what I need to have for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, before every ride, after every ride, and have it mapped out and all prepared before. So instead of rocking up and last minute ditch to grab a few pieces of fruit, prepare it all the night before, chop it all up so you don't have to grab a piece of fruit, so that it's all ready to go. It's easily accessible. The easier it is for you to access, the more likely it is that you're actually going to have it and take it in, which means that we can keep you in a lot better shape and still have that time to focus on the bike. So it's not about taking time away from the bike to spend time on you. It's about optimizing everything in the background for you so that you're taking the choices out of it. So that's the nutrition component. The other component to look at is mobility and flexibility. What are you doing before every ride and after every ride to maximize flexibility, mobility, tightness? One of the things that I noticed from the fitness competition on the weekend is that, and this happens with riding and racing as well, brought up a lot of memories from riding and racing, especially for me, is a lot of riders and racers will go and sit down. They'll go and race and they'll go and sit down under their pit shade. They'll be hot, they'll be tired, and they'll just go and sit in the chair until the next moto. Okay, or they'll go for a little bit of a walk, go to the toilet, come and sit down and speak shit with everyone else. What we need to be able to do is making sure that we're getting that lymphatic system working. The lymphatic system pumps lymph and white blood cells around the body, but it only works with muscular contraction. Okay, so in other words, the muscles have to be working for that lymphatic system to be working optimally. So when we go and ride and race, and we need those white blood cells moving around the body to help repair it, and we go and sit down for an hour or two or half an hour and go and talk with our mates, that lymphatic system's stopping. So our body's going to tighten up, it's going to seize up, it's not going to feel very good for the next moto. So one of the strategies to implement is being able to move around between motos, being able to constantly be active. Go and walk around and have a look at the track, go and speak to people, stand up and move around. Don't focus on sitting down or staying stationary in one spot because we're actually working against your recovery. So have a system for that. What are you going to do? Is there certain parts of the track that you're going to look at? So if you've got 3 motos on race day, is there certain parts of the track you're going to look at certain times? Okay, maybe you go and jump on flags. Maybe you got parents or someone on flags and you go and stand on flags for a little bit so you can move around and actually do something because that forces you to move and you know you're not going to do it. Go and find something to be able to do to move. Take your gear off if you have to, get your boots off, get all the heavy stuff off and go for a bit of a walk. That's the mobility and flexibility. In terms of training, systems, you need to be able to incorporate training systems as well. So you need to be able to make sure that with your training during the week, we're moving from a model of exercise to a model of training. And I think we touched on this in the last episode. Exercise is simply just elevating your heart rate. Okay, exercise is very easy. Go and walk the dog, go for a run, go for a bike ride, go and do a Zumba class, do a pump class, go to the gym and do some training. Okay, that's all exercise. It's just simply elevating your heart rate, just moving. Training is actually a prescription of specific exercises designed to get you from point A to point B. It's designed for progress. So if you are exercising, there's no way of measuring progress, you don't know if you're getting better, and you don't know if you're moving towards anything. The trap that a lot of riders and racers get stuck in, and I talked about this on a live stream the other day, is that they'll go and train, okay, or exercise, they'll go to the gym, they'll go and exercise, and they've had a bit of time off training, they go and train, they train for the first 4 to 6 weeks, they're doing really well, the training's working, okay, they're doing more push-ups, they're doing more sit-ups, they're lifting heavier weights, they are feeling better, they've lost a little bit of body fat, they're looking better, sweet, happy days. Then what happens is they get to that 4 to 6 week mark when all of a sudden they're not getting those same results. The same things that they were doing at the start aren't continuing to get them results, they plateau, okay, their results start to drop off. So they're not performing as well as what they thought they should be, and they start to question their training and wonder why they're not progressing anymore. The reason that you'll progress initially with your training is because you will adapt to anything. If you've been doing nothing or very little exercise, okay, and then you go and do a Zumba class, you will get fitter doing Zumba and you will feel better on the bike, simply because you've been doing nothing, okay? However, is it optimal? No, it's not. Because then what we're doing is we're moving through, we're getting those initial gains from doing some type of movement, we're stopping the progress, we're stopping the results, and when we stop getting results, our drive and motivation starts to drop off. We start to question the exercises, question what we're doing, question why we're working hard all day and then busting our ass to try and get to the gym if you're still not seeing the progress. And that's because you're stuck in the exercise category, not the training category. In the training category, it's where you have a methodical system designed to get you from point A to point B. If you're at 10-minute motos now and we're working to get to 20 minutes, the training program gets you there. That's the gap. Simply exercise isn't going to get you there. The trial and error isn't going to get you there. Training is having a system. So you need to be able to make sure you have systems with everything, because systems allow us, number one, to be able to be consistent with what we're doing, but also get consistent results. So if you're consistent with your training, and you've got a specific program that you're following that system, then what that means is that we can track the results Okay, you've gone from squatting 10 kilos to now squatting 20 kilos. You've done a 500 meter row in 2 minutes to now doing a 500 meter row in 1 minute 45. You know that you've got a lot better. You can see that progress, and then you can start to notice the difference out on the track as well. So it's all about having those systems in place for everything and taking the guesswork out of training. A lot of riders and racers guess with their nutrition. They eat healthy, okay? They go and exercise. They do random stretches. They do a whole heap of stuff that is not systemized. And when you have the systems, you have consistent results. When you have consistent results, that allows you to tweak things. You can't make things better or worse if you don't have a system there, if you're just doing whatever's happening. If one day before riding and racing, you're having sausage rolls, and the next day you're having the next event, you're having a salad, the next event after that, you're having a toasted ham and cheese, how can you gauge the results? How can you gauge how you're actually feeling on race day if we're changing what we're doing? If one day you're eating fruit all day on race day and the next time you're eating lollies all day on race day, how can you gauge the progress? You can't, because you're constantly changing the variables. So when we have that system, we have consistent variables, consistent results, and that allows you to, number one, get better results, but number two, you can tweak the system and make things better. You can make those refinements as you go, but most riders and racers aren't at that stage. They're just doing stuff rather than actually following a system. So I guess today's, just wanted to talk majorly about systems, just something I learned and saw a lot of at the fitness comp on the weekend. It reminded me of what riders and racers do. And I know for me, when I was riding and racing, I was one of those people. I didn't have a system. I would go to the track, we'd have toasted ham and cheese or bacon and egg for breakfast. We'd go have lunch and have a hamburger and chips. Didn't have any system for before and after every race. Wouldn't move around during the races. I would only worry about getting water in when I was actually super thirsty on race day, instead of worrying about all this stuff beforehand. All the organisation for race day is set up beforehand. All those systems are set up. So grab a whiteboard, grab a piece of paper and map everything out. Sit there and literally write everything out, because this is going to give you the structure to be able to perform at your best. So systems. That's what I want you guys to be able to focus your attention on for the next week. Get those systems together. If you need help designing those systems, then hit me up. We've got our free 10-day race ready challenge, which is a little bit of sample programming that I'm happy for you guys to jump on board with or have access to. So I'll put a link in the title for you above, and you can click on there and jump on board if that's something you want to do. If you want a sample of a system in terms of the training component, feel free to jump on board there, and that'll give you at least something to start with and get you in the right direction. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you guys next week. See ya.